What are some of the ways that mass timber is legitimately better for the planet from an emission standpoint, just out of curiosity?
Yeah, so I can speak high level, but I'm definitely not qualified, so take it with a grain of salt.
Yep,
But
fair enough.
the basic idea is that some 40% of our global carbon emissions come from buildings, and they come from buildings and from the operations of buildings. And so when you dive into the construction of buildings, a majority of those carbon emissions come from the the construction with concrete and steel. They're just incredibly energy intensive processes to work with, and they emit a lot of carbon during the process. And so the way that mass timber works at a high level is you have trees that are grown in sustainably harvested forests. As trees grow and get taller, they actually pull carbon out of the atmosphere and they trap it in their limbs. And so trees, they pull the most carbon out when they're young, and so as they get older and mature, they're you know there becomes a time when they aren't pulling as much carbon from the atmosphere. And so there's kind of this like ideal point in time in a tree's life where you want to harvest that tree. It's pulled a majority of its carbon out of the air. You cut it down, you replant a new tree in its place, and you take the trees and you can basically create these engineered wood products called mass timber, which is kind of an umbrella term for a lot of different products. Some of
Hmm.
the more popular ones are called cross laminated timber, which is for you know floor and ceiling decks, basically just different layers of timber kind of laid in a cross pattern and glued together and compressed to form these big thick panels. Then there's other products called glue lam, which are really good for columns and beams. There's there's LVL, there's NLT, there's DLT. There's all different kinds of mass timber products out there that are all really cool and innovative. And so essentially, what you have is these kind of almost componentized, building materials, these columns, beams, and then floor and ceiling decks that essentially store carbon, because they all of the carbon that the trees pulled out of the atmosphere when they were harvested is trapped still in these products that then you know come to the site and are installed very quickly and become the superstructure of the building. And so rather than the structure being made out of a very energy intensive material like concrete or steel, it's made with these wood members that are storing carbon in them
Mm,
and will continue to store carbon forever for the life of the wood. And
yeah.
yeah, so that's high level how it's different from concrete and steel.